But we have a man here who is, first off, husband and father.
Great thing about how I grew up on a farm. We were potato farmers, and all my neighbors were my aunts and uncles. So, we were very close-knit family, a very close community in Smyrna. It's grown quite a bit, but when I go back, it's always nice.
Entrepreneur, businessman.
We became the bachelorette capital of the world. We took over Vegas. That's not somebody making it up. We actually really became the bachelorette capital of the world, where the data came back. People are coming here than Vegas for that. And so I was like, well, we need to have a show that caters to that.
He's been on many, many different TV shows.
I was on Dance with Stars when 20 million people were watching. Now it's for 2.5, 3 million, I think. Yeah, it's a big difference.
I loves to make grown men cry with one of his songs.
And they're like, hey, we love your music. They'll be like, I was 13 when Stealing Cinderella came out, and I always promised my dad that was going to be our song, Stealing Cinderella. And here, fast forward, they're like 25 or 26. She's like, and now we're getting married next week, and that's going to be our song.
And it's so good looking that he's actually making me question my life decisions. Hey everybody, welcome back to the NashVegas podcast. We appreciate you tuning in again as always. And today we are very, very excited about our guest. Who really needs no introduction, but I'm gonna do it anyway. But we have a man here who is, first off, husband and father, entrepreneur, businessman. He's been on many, many different TV shows. He loves to make grown men cry with one of his songs, and is so good looking that he's actually making me question my life decisions.
Wow.
Right next to him. I mean, dang. We got Chuck Wicks right here.
Thank you. Yeah. I was going to say, no, I actually do need, I always tell people, I'm the ultimate D-list celebrity. People they'll look at me and they'll be like, why do I know you? I'm like, let's just talk it out. Let's talk it out. Where do you think you know me from? So you watch Dance with the Stars. Great. That's where you probably know me from. Oh, you didn't watch my season. All right, let's back it up a little bit more.
Back it up a little more.
Do you like country music? And then I just go down this whole, they're like, oh, that's where I know you from. And then word always ends up, he's like, oh, no, we go to the same grocery store. I'm like, yeah, that's where you know me from. That's where you know me from.
So the grocery store, that's what gets them in.
Publix.
Or
Kroger.
Hey, Publix or Kroger. Hey,
Either way, Whole Foods. I'm in. We love it all.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And actually, speaking of this show, it's we were talking off backstage a little bit. Backstage, here we go. Before you got here. Want to thank you for allowing us to come in and do this. We're about 90 episodes in-ish or so, but this is the first time we've ever gone outside of our studio. And what a way to do it on the stage of the Woolworth Theater at the Shiners show. I mean, thank you. This is cool as hell, man.
You beat me to the punch. I mean, I have my own show, our own podcast. I haven't done it in a while, but I have never done even my own podcast here. So I'm jealous of you.
Boom.
I'm
yes. First one.
I never got all these lights on.
I know. I feel like royalty up here. This is cool as hell.
It's kind of nice.
So thank you for that. Really appreciate
anytime,
it.
Man.
And actually, speaking of Shiners, I know we're definitely want to talk about the show, but we're going to back it up a little bit before that. So by the way, Shiners, we're going to get to it. Amazing, amazing show. You're definitely going to want to come see it. What's the website for it?
ShinersNashville.com.
Okay, cool. Look it up, but we're going to get more in detail on that here in a minute. But let's just take it back for those, past decade and a half, maybe living under a rock, who maybe don't know who you are.
Okay.
Because you say D-list celebrity. I argue that there's no way. So
depends on where I am.
Where you are?
Depends on what state.
What state?
I mean, certain states I'm like a B+.
A B+.
So
what about back home in, what is it, Smyrna? Where were you born?
Smyrna, Delaware.
Delaware. Yeah. Okay. Do they know you up there?
Smyrna, yeah. I mean, first of all, Delaware's so small. Everybody kind of knows everybody, especially in my hometown. So anytime I go back, it's always a nice, warm welcome. And I think the great thing about how I grew up on a farm. We were potato farmers, and all my neighbors were my aunts and uncles. So, we were very close-knit family, a very close community in Smyrna. It's grown quite a bit, but when I go back, it's always nice.
Potato farms, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't potato farms the one that mice and rats love? Do they love the potatoes? Or am I confused one with the...
We did, mice and rats loved our barn. I can tell you
that.
Oh,
is that what? Okay, that's what it was.
But we did wheat, barley, corn.
Okay,
we did more than just potatoes.
Did all the above. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember Jen's mom actually was born and raised on a potato farm. And
really?
And she actually, back in, she's from Germany. And she used to talk about the mice and the rats would all come in.
The German potatoes.
Yeah.
The German potatoes, they're a little different.
Little different?
They're not quite like the French potatoes. That's where you get your French fries from.
Yeah, well, there you go. I will say this. Her mom's a hell of a cook. It's all right. We're just going to roll with it. It's all right. Yeah, her mom's a hell of a cook, though. Let me tell you that. You get her in the kitchen, woo, she makes some food.
Like a big stew? Does she, like, she's behind the camera right now, like stew or what?
All the things. Okay. Yeah. Literally, it's a joke now. I want her to make something bad just so I can say I had something bad, but she's like 100 for 100 on her plates. Everything's delicious. She's an amazing cook.
So I have a German background, but also my wife is Cuban. So Cassie is half Cuban. My mother-in-law is very Cuban. And when she cooks for us, because she lives on the front of our property, which is a blessing. Like we have built-in babysitters.
Oh, very cool.
Especially for my son Tucker. And we probably eat up at my in-laws' house, I would say safely 3 to 4 times a week. And she's always, cooking some kind of thing that's very culture driven. And I'm just like, and a boy from Delaware on a potato farm, I'm like, empanadas is like a big thing. Oh my God. Like we said,
empanadas. Yes.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm just going to go ahead and invite ourselves over. You just let me know next time. Yeah, you
come over. And that's the best thing about especially my in-laws. They're like, oh yeah, come on over. Yeah. We'll just cook more.
Make enough for an army. It's fine. It's not a problem. So, anyway, but you mentioned your son Tucker. He's 3 and a half.
Yeah, he'll be 4 in December.
4 in December.
He is
ball energy.
Awesome. He's a lot of energy, but he's like, I was telling you guys before I got here, I'm like, I had my energy drink. I'm ready. My son was up all night. But he's so cool. Being a dad is like the best thing in the whole world. Yeah.
Oh, I can only imagine. That's awesome. So, but moving forward a little bit with after Tucker, I want to talk about a little bit about your getting into the music scene, if you don't mind, because you have arguably the most famous wedding song on the planet. And can you think about? Go ahead.
Yeah, I wouldn't say wedding song. I would say maybe father-daughter dance.
Okay, that works.
Which is like a wedding, because most people think like wedding song, they think first dance.
Okay.
So I would say I would say father-daughter dance for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's right. They do father-daughter prom stuff. They do all that sort of. So father-daughter. Yeah, I could totally see that.
To me, it's like super. The song, it came out, Stealing Cinderella is the song we're talking about. It came out in 2007, which feels like forever ago. But I still have people come up and say, they'll actually come to a Shiner show. And they're like, hey, we love your music. They'll be like, I was 13 when Stealing Cinderella came out. And I always promised my dad that was going to be our song, Stealing Cinderella. And fast forward, they're like 25 or 26. She's like, and now we're getting married next week, and that's going to be our song. So that's the fun part about music for me, especially being a songwriter is, songwriters, we write songs every day, especially if you're really into, I don't write songs like I used to, but I used to write songs every day. And now with different businesses and everything and being a dad, I kind of pick my spots where I'm creative and we'll sit down and actually write a song. And a great song will stand the test of time. And I have songs that like people have no clue they even exist, and I have songs that are my favorite, but and that I've released and put on albums. But Stealing Cinderella is one of those songs that is always just.
It's always hit
in there, yeah.
Well, what is your favorite song that you've done then?
Probably there's a few, but probably there's a song called "Old with You" that I wrote specifically for my wife. And I knew that like we were gonna get married. Like I already knew it. Like I'm gonna marry this person, and I want children with her. And I wrote the song and released it the day my son was born. So it came out on December 4th. And so it was very.
That's a very special meeting. Yeah.
And we waited on the video, so we took all the footage. Mm-hmm. I think this is probably why I like it. It's more my favorite video than anything.
Yeah, I got you.
You have to check out the video. It's called "Old with You," and it's got everybody in it. I mean, my whole family's in it. My in-laws are in it. My brother-in-laws, and just us bringing Tucker home from the hospital, like in real time, like the actual footage.
Oh, really? No kidding. Oh,
it's
that's
really,
awesome.
really cool.
It's got
footage of when I asked Cassie to marry me, we were up in Banff, Canada.
Yeah.
Up in your neck of the woods. You said you were Alaska. It's not quite
Alaska,
Anchorage, but it's like that
it's up there. It's up there.
Still cold.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But so I think that's why it's because we'll always have those memories. But "Oh With You" is probably one of my favorites, and I don't know. There's songs that I've written like for my dad that I have not released yet. But there's just stuff that I think every songwriter will say, like they'll probably give you like a very eclectic song that's their favorite because it just means something so personal to them. But there's others, I don't know. It changes too. It's just like music, like we're all in the car. We're like, oh, I'm in the mood to listen to this, or I'm in the mood to listen to that.
Well,
so
yeah, it makes sense. Yeah,
it does fluctuate.
Yeah.
Ask me in the wintertime, I'll give you something depressing.
Oh, yeah.
Summertime, I want something like upbeat.
Yeah.
But I don't write a lot of upbeat songs. I write mostly like mid or like ballads. So
yeah. No, I do have to ask with Stealing Cinderella, how was it like getting that phone call from UT head coach to go sing in the wedding?
Oh, Coach Fulmer.
Yeah,
so
Fulmer, yeah.
For all the UT fans, Knoxville, you have to keep this in mind. I was not a big UT fan.
Nope.
But I didn't really know enough about, this was back in 2007, right?
Yep,
So I grew up in Delaware, where we had the University of Delaware for college football. That was it.
I got
So
you.
I didn't grow up a huge college football fan.
Okay, gotcha.
I grew up pro sports, NFL, watched Eagles, Phillies.
Same here, actually. So, yeah, I get it.
So when I went to Florida, I went down to Florida Southern College to play baseball. Same thing. Florida Southern College was great baseball school, Division II. We won national championships. We were awesome. But we didn't have a football program. So I was never in that like college football program mindset. So when they're like, hey, you're not going to believe this, Chuck. Coach Fulmer wants you to sing the first dance at his daughter's wedding. I'm like, is that good?
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, maybe.
Is that cool? They're like, you don't know who Coach Fulmer is? I'm like, I mean, I think so. Yeah. They're like UT head coach. So even when they're like UT head coach, I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
And which I'm glad I didn't really know that because it probably would have freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah.
Went out there, they have a cabin in the woods out there, a family cabin, and it was beautiful. And that's when I knew this song was really special because at the time, the song was only 56 maybe on the Billboard chart.
Oh, really?
So it wasn't a big hit yet.
Yeah. Okay.
But he knew of it because I think Knoxville radio station was playing it a lot. Like early out of the gate, I go out there and I meet, a lot of the team and his daughters and his family. And I knew it was a great song when I saw this big burly guy, Coach Fulmer, UT, really nice guy, by the way, really great family. And when he's dancing, I'm sitting here singing just acoustically. And every time he turned, I saw his face. He was like, the more tears would come down. So then I'm just like, oh, this is going to be a special song to the dads. Because I wrote it from my perspective, and the two guys that I wrote it with, Rivers Rutherford and George Tarrant, great songwriters. They wrote When I Get Where I'm Going for Brad Paisley, just the two of them. So I brought the idea to them because I was like, well, they can tell a great story. And I feel like this is a story song. Let me bring it to them. They're like, yes, 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 let's do this. We wrote it probably in a few hours, went to lunch, came back, kind of like fine-tuned it, and we were done. And they wrote it from the perspective of dads because they had daughters. So they're like, oh yeah, my daughter comes down and will like eat a bowl of cereal in her favorite princess dress. So here I am, 28. Maybe I was 28 when I wrote it, or something like that. And I'm the young dude writing it, and they're the actual dads. And now I have 3 stepdaughters. So it's like a full circle moment. This song, that's why I think the song always continues to like live and breathe.
That's awesome. Man, I love that. That's great. So it still lives on to this day. So we're reading about it online. Everybody loves it still. So to this day, was it 17 years later? Whatever it is now. So
I know.
I meant 2 years. It was just yesterday. It wasn't that long.
Yes. I got gray in my beard now.
I'm right there with you. We matched today. So
we're good.
But Well, on the music side, this is my own pure curiosity question. So you went to, was it Southern Florida or Florida?
Florida Southern.
Florida Southern. There we go. On baseball. And do you ever look back? What were you? You were like 2 classes shy, right? Did I get that right? Graduating.
2 classes short of graduating.
But you left to come here.
Well, I got a record deal.
Well, that's it.
I'm like, peace out. I'm like, as much as I want to take kinesiology.
Okay, you beat me to it. All right, cool.
You know, and finish out this, I'm out.
Okay.
And so I went up to I left college and went up there. Now, before that, I was going back and forth to Nashville, it wasn't like I just like sent a tape and got signed. I was going back and forth to the point where I was going back and forth to Nashville so much. My senior year, I just went part-time. So that way I could fly up. I wouldn't miss meetings, stuff like that. And I was still in college. Made my parents really happy. And I felt like I wasn't like totally just giving up on getting the degree. But my heart and everything was in music. So, and I was done playing baseball. Like I stopped playing. So I stopped at that point in time. I was like, well, I'm not playing baseball anymore at college. So I was like, well, if I'm going to do it, let's go for it. So I move up here thinking, you know, like I got it made. Move up here, got a development deal on RCA Records. Move up here. 1 week later, I get dropped. So I had to that's when I decided to dig my heels in and just like, well, I'm up here now. And I just dug my heels in and just really focused on, instead of like jumping around to different labels, trying to get another deal, I was just like, all right, RCA didn't think I was ready. They're probably right. I mean, you know, it's like it wasn't like I was cutting my teeth and grinding out on the road or playing the bar circuit. I was just kind of singing and songwriting. So I was just like, they're probably right. And so I listened and went back and I wrote with the best songwriters in the world here for 4 years straight, found my sound and went right back to RCA Records and they signed me on the spot.
Nice.
Full deal.
Oh,
and
awesome.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Like
I did go to Capitol Records before. It was Nashville doesn't really, I think they don't work. Nashville's very different now, but as far as the music scene goes, but we scheduled, we're like, all right, we're going to go see Capitol Records, RCA Records next. And like, I remember in the schedule, all right, Capitol's 10:30, RCA's 11:30. Then we're going to go to lunch. Then at 1, we're going to see Universal. Like, it was like a big day. I remember I went to Capitol, had a great meeting, and I was like, man, I think they really liked me. I was telling my producer and stuff that went in there with me, I think they really liked me. We get in the car, we're on our way to RCA Records, get a call from, it was Dan Huff and Monty Powell, the guys that produced my first record, which if you look their names up, they're phenomenal. They're phenomenal. They like, hey, Capitol is passing. I'm like, well, that sucks. You know, like I'm about to go see RCA Records again, and I already know that Capitol just passed. And they go, well, they liked you, but they have somebody that like kind of looks like you and like a little bit of a different sound, but the same. I'm like, well, who is it? And they're like, oh, they signed a new act, Luke Bryan.
Okay.
So they passed because they had another guy that was 6'2".
Well, if they're going to compare you to anybody, I think that's a pretty good one to be compared to.
I mean, yeah,
not too bad.
Totally different, 2 different sounds.
Well, I get that, but yeah.
But as far as like, and I love Luke. I've known Luke forever. But we went into RCA, and because they said that, they're like, oh, wait, they already signed it. I was like, all right. So I felt pretty good. Go to RCA, play them 4 songs acoustic. Don't even get to the elevator. They're like, hey, tell Chuck we're going to sign him. Don't take your other meetings.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
So I was like, okay.
Boom. And they was just riding it from there, huh?
And then it was, yeah.
Yeah. So where did, I'm jumping forward a little, but where did Nashville, the show, come into play? How did that come all about?
The original Nashville?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So a lot of people don't know it because we only aired 2 episodes on Fox. We filmed all 10.
Okay.
But there's Nashville that everybody knows from ABC, I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then there was a reality show called Nashville on Fox.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Jamie Johnson was on it, myself. A lot of up and comers were on it. And I was the only guy that was signed, I think. I don't know if Jamie was signed yet. I think he was like the outlaw. I remember Jamie Johnson was like the outlaw, but he didn't have his beard yet. It was like you have to look it up.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Seeing Jamie Johnson, being Jamie Johnson from right now to like 2007,
yep.
you'd be like, oh,
who's that?
Different dude.
Different dude. Yeah.
Same guy though.
Yeah.
Same great guy. Yeah. So I remember that came into play because I took a meeting, remember Laguna Beach and all that stuff on MTV. So the same producers did Nashville, and they were just before their time. If they did it now, they did it on Nashville and ABC, but it was more Nashville and ABC was scripted. We were more scripted reality. So, and they won't say scripted reality. They were more reality. So we get in there. I was in the middle of making my record on RCA, and they were following my journey. My person on the show was me. Played myself, and they were following my journey through with RCA Records, brand new artists, radio tour. So I was doing radio tour Monday through Friday all across the country, and then I would film Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, and then go back on the road. And I remember I was never a day off. I lost so much weight.
Oh my gosh.
Because during radio tour, they don't put you up in like really nice hotels.
I gotcha.
They'll put you up in a hotel that will have a vending machine, maybe.
Have a vending machine?
Not like a restaurant inside the hotel. So I was like, by the time I got done radio tour, and I'm like, I'm starving, nothing's open. Let's do a vending machine. And I was like, I got down. I lost so much weight. But I remember just being exhausted, and it just came about because that production team was looking for a story, and they went to all the different labels looking for my character, like the new guy, and I was it. So that's kind of how that came about. And I think a lot of people thought that I remember people thinking that I was a TV guy first, and I'm like, no, I could sign my deal first. And then this reality show came along. But then Stealing Cinderella hits. I get on Brad Paisley tour. Second single hits, All I Ever Wanted. That became a hit. And then I landed on Dancing with the Stars. And then really I was on Dancing with the Stars when like 20 million people were watching. Now it's like 2.5, 3 million.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's a big.
Yeah. How was Dancing with the Stars though? I've seen interviews with other people that have done the show talking about how intense it is and how incredible of a workout that is. And dance. I mean, how was it? I never
thought it was like a big workout.
Oh no? Okay.
Because I was always an athlete just growing up.
Well, that's true.
Now, if you don't work out, or you're not an athletic person, or you're not a person that moves or hikes or whatever, you're just not out doing that thing. You throw yourself into dancing 5 days a week, you're going to be like, this is a workout. But if you run, like I was a college athlete, so I was always used to just training or whatever. And then it wasn't, I was dating my partner at the time. So Julianne Hough and I were dating at the time, and we met out on tour, on the Brad Paisley tour. We were together for probably like 9 months when I got asked to be on Dancing with the Stars. And that's how I ended up on the show, is because I was on set. And they're like, I met the casting director. She's super sweet. And she knew I was a country artist. And she was just like, I remember at the end of the season before mine, they called me into the room. And they're like, hey, can you have a conversation? And I'm like, why do you guys want to talk to me? Like, I thought I was in trouble. I was like, do you think I stole something backstage?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Oops.
So here they're all the big directors and everything, and they're all from overseas, and they're like, so Chuck, we'd like to know if you'd like, I don't know if that's the accent, but
we'll run with it. It's good.
Yeah. So we'd like to know if you want to do next season of Dance with the Stars. I'm like, sure, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right.
And they saw me out on tour too, because they were looking at Jewel.
Okay.
So Jewel was supposed to be on my season.
Gotcha.
And her husband at the time, Ty, with the Bull Rider, was on my season. So that's how they saw me too as well. They saw me touring, they saw me backstage, They're like, who is this guy? He seems pretty cool. And he's a country artist. Let's do it. And that's how that came about.
Nice. All right, cool.
Synergy.
Well, right place, right time. And there you go. Well, all that means, and moving forward a little bit, I got to ask, how did wine come into the picture? You've always liked wine, or you have your own wine now?
Yeah, I do. Melorosa Wine Company is doing really well.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be in the wine business ever.
Doesn't it mean red apple or something like that?
What's that?
Doesn't Melorosa, isn't that red apple or something?
No, so Melorosa.
I forgot what that means.
It could mean that, but Melorosa is named after my Cuban side of the family. So Melo is my mother-in-law's maiden name, and Rosa is my wife's grandmother's name, Melorosa. So they defected from Cuba back in the 60s under the Castro regime, and they were on one of the last planes out. So when they get on the last plane, it's all loaded up. It was a Canadian airplane. A lot of people don't know this, but back in the day, Castro was like, in a nutshell, was just like, hey, if you want out, you don't want to be here, here's your time. He wouldn't let American planes pick him up. He let Canadian and all different countries. So they were on the last plane out. I remember hearing the story several times. My mother-in-law goes like, yeah, the pilot came on, did one last little walk around in the airport, saw all the sisters in the corner and they were kids. He's like, you guys come with me, follow me. Don't look at anybody. They get on the plane. That's already loaded up. It's already full. Close it. They're celebrating. They take off. They land in Miami. And so we named the wine after them, Melorosa. And we say, when you drink Melorosa, make a toast to freedom.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's what it's all about.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, see, my family's we're off the boat from Italy, and our name's at Ellis Island and all that stuff. But I'm pretty sure Melorosa in Italian, I think it's red apple. That's why I asked. I was just curious.
Maybe
something like that.
But I like it because it sounds good.
Right. Yeah.
Melorosa wine, red apple.
That's right.
Great.
And what restaurant is it? E3 Chop House? Did I get that right? We saw the wine.
Yeah, we're in E3 Chop House, Church and Union.
Okay.
We're in over 100 locations.
Dang, I'm just saying where we saw it. I remember those. Chop
here in Nashville.
Very
and
cool.
Then if you go to melorosa.com, you can check. Like, you can find where it is near you.
Nice.
Because we're in a lot of liquor, spirit stores, wine and spirit stores, and then we're in we're about to be in Florida, New Jersey, Texas, California. So that's been blowing up. I got into it because I was doing my podcast, Love Country, Talk to Chuck. I haven't done one in a minute, but I was interviewing a winemaker for We the People Wine, and we're talking, and I made a joke to him. I'm like, "Oh, you should do this with your wine." It was around celebrities, and it was funny at the time. I was just like, "Why don't you just do like a select thing where just Matthew McConaughey's feet stomped on these grapes, and you only sell like 100 bottles, but they're really, really expensive."
Yeah.
And then it was, people were like laughing and were like, "That's dumb." I was like, "Is it?"
Oh, that would sell though.
I would buy it. I'm not even a Matthew McConaughey. I wouldn't drink it because I know where his feet have been, but I figured for like if you're going to invest,
Right? Yeah, or some kind of collector or something. If somebody
they called me the next day and they're like, "Hey, we really would like you to do a wine with us." And that's when I was just like, it doesn't really make sense for me to do a wine, but let me talk to my wife. Yeah. And then that's how Melorosa started.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. And then Jason Aldean is my brother-in-law. So he just recently, probably a few months ago, became one of the owners as well.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. See, now y'all need to do a wine of both your feet stomping some of the grapes.
I mean, I know what my feet look like. And I don't know if you want that.
Okay.
Even if you're into feet.
Even if you're into feet. He sells feet pics on OnlyFans, folks, if you didn't know that. So,
it's just my big toe. It's all I can fit. Right there.
Okay. On that note, how about...
That's not my toe.
That's
dumb. It's early. It's early.
Oh, man, I love it. This is great.
I told you need to see the show.
I know, right? Now, but speaking of the show, let's talk about the Shiners. For one, how did you come up with this? Like, what was the light bulb moment for this show?
Very interesting. So at the time I was doing I used to do morning radio, country radio. So I did syndicated morning radio. We were on 103.3 here in Nashville. And then we were on in 50 plus markets. I think we got up to 70 at one point, all different cities. And it was early mornings. I would be getting up at 4 and getting home around noon. And that was kind of my life for about 6 years. My mornings, I wasn't married, or I didn't have a kid yet, but I was married towards the back half of it, but really enjoyed doing it, loved doing it. And I lived downtown at the time. And so I was in a high rise. So I would see everything that was like on rinse and repeat. It was the same thing. All these people would come into town and they would do the same thing. Broadway, Country Music Hall of Fame, Grand Ole Opry, maybe a sports thing, and maybe there was a big concert in town. Ryman, whatever. But that was it. It was just that circle. And I remember thinking, I was like, there's got to be more options than that. Not there. Broadway is great. Honky tonks are great. We've got that covered in spades. We've got great restaurants covered. We've got great sports teams covered. We've got great venues covered. And they're awesome. And that's what this town thrives on. But I think we were missing a little piece, especially when we became this tourist attraction of a city. We were missing that. We became the bachelorette capital of the world. We took over Vegas. I mean, that's not somebody making it up. We actually really became the bachelorette capital of the world, where like the data came back that more people are coming here than Vegas for that. And so I was like, well, we need to have a show that caters to that. And because we don't. And it started off, I wanted to do a Magic Mike style show.
Oh, okay.
That's how it started.
That's how it's, oh my gosh. Okay.
And I got, an amazing group involved, Nappy Tabs, which they're a choreography group that just got nominated for a bunch of Emmys.
Oh, nice.
Yesterday. And they've won countless awards. They're J-Lo's choreographers for the last whatever dozen years.
Very cool.
They do some Cirque shows. They do the Grammys. They do the Disney specials for ABC for Christmas specials. Yeah. They do those. So great track record, right? Really, really good for that type of talent. And I knew I could count on them and lean on them for advice. The advice turned into a partnership. And then the partnership turned into this evolving thing, right? So when I started looking at like just catering towards the bachelorettes and these big groups, we did a study. We're like, well, we're kind of alienating a lot of people. Like we're cutting out a lot of people that live in the city or that are visiting that maybe doesn't want to do that style thing. So I just go, let's do something bigger. Let's invite everybody. That's 18 or older.
18 or older, yes. Throwing that out there.
We're an adult show for sure.
An adult show, yeah.
So I went to a show in Vegas called Absinthe and loved it. And what I loved about it was it was eclectic. It was different. It was somewhat interactive. There wasn't really a bad seat in the house. You were close. So you saw these really, really great acts very close up, where a lot of these Cirque shows, you see them, but there's a lot of bells and whistles around it. You don't see it in like its raw form, or you don't see it really close. And that's what I loved about Absinthe. And it had somewhat of a storyline with Absinthe. So I said, well, what's the absinthe of the South? Moonshine. So I was just like, well, shit, I'm going to write a whole deal around a family of moonshiners and create these characters and create, Cousin Buck, Jimbo and Bobo, Mason Shiner, my baby sister Violet, Joe Fix-It, like just creating all these characters. Because when you think about our own families are made up of a bunch of different characters. You got the crazy uncle, or you got the siblings or the cousins that come that don't like to wear a lot of clothes. You're like, they're in college. You're like, what are you doing? Grandma's right here. So we wanted to like kind of bring that into the picture, but then create this atmosphere that's a total shit show. And very eclectic, very in your face, very like Mason Shiner. So I run the kind of gauntlet, and I'm very interactive with the people, like, because I can see everybody. So I'll pick people out and I'll ask them where they're from, and I'll make them a part of the show. And that's where I think this show really stands out from other shows. Is that once you walk through the doors of our theater, you're in. Like, you're a part of the Shiner family. We do this whole thing where you got to take the family oath. And once you take the family oath, take a step, you're part of the family, see the rest of the secrets of the Shine. So once you do that, then you see it all come to life. And it's like, I even say in the show, welcome to the shit show. I mean, we have so much fun, and we've had so many people. We say before, I'm like, if you get offended easily, the door is to your left. And that's, we are not meant to be a play. We are not a play.
Yeah.
We are not your kid's circus.
Mm-hmm.
We are Cirque meets adult comedy, in your face, drop everything at the door, relax, come have a good time, and laugh. And I always, one of my favorite movies is Dumb and Dumber, or like Jim Carrey and all that. So it's not this, it's slapstick. It's like, I call it immature humor. There's a lot of sexual innuendos. It's all these things that if you know what you're coming to, you're going to have a blast. If you think we're a play and we're going to be Hamlet.
No, sir. Yeah.
Probably the wrong show.
Yeah.
Probably the wrong show.
Some of that stuff you just said, I'm telling you, Jen and I, we came here a couple weeks ago for Jen. Everybody who's watching, Jen's behind the camera, by the way, we refer to her. But yeah, hi Jen. Hey, it's my better half back there. But we came here for her birthday, and we'd seen advertisements for it, I think on Facebook or something, I can't remember. But we are huge Cirque du Soleil fans, right? We love Cirque du Soleil. And I was like, this show looks awesome. It exactly what you just said. It looks like a funny Cirque du Soleil, but more adult themed, And so we came here, and exactly what you just said, home freaking run to you guys, because we walked out of here and we were like, everybody in Nashville needs to see this show. Everybody coming to Nashville needs to see this show. This needs to be on a rotation of like the tours and people coming by going, there's the Woolworth Theater, go see the Shiners. Like, hands down, incredibly entertaining. We had a blast. I mean, we were up there cheering everybody. And plus, how you guys interact with the crowd. The whole crowd was involved. I mean, we were all cheering and laughing, all this stuff. And the guy, unfortunately, was the one that you weren't here. So we're going to come back and watch you.
You got to.
But the host, the other guy, what was his name?
You saw Big Vinny, I think.
Okay, yeah. I mean, he was calling us out up there and up top and making everybody part of the show. And it was so much fun. And then on top of that, we went down to the lounge afterwards. And I just walked up to the bar. We were getting a drink. And there was Jacob. And one of the super ripped muscular dude.
Jimbo and Bobo. So the hand-to-hand guys.
Yeah, but they came out and they were all talking with everybody, and they were cool as hell. And just everybody's, hey, how's it going? And taking pictures with everybody, interacting. I mean, everybody was really cool. Like, we can't wait to come back. This was awesome. Such a cool show. Home run, man. Grand slam to you guys. This show is phenomenal.
It's been an interesting ride. Mm-hmm. You mentioned Jacob and Merrick is the other guy. The hand-to-hand guys. They're from Poland.
Yeah.
And they're Cirque acts. Like it's interesting. They go back and they do Mystere, which is out in Vegas. They do that Monday through Wednesday, and they do our show Thursday through Saturday. These guys are workhorses. I mean, they're phenomenal talents. They're from all over the world. We have people from Australia. Dang. We have people from Northern Africa, South Africa, Delaware.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
But all over the place. And Mexico, we just got a new act. The one girl's from Mexico. We did have a girl from Russia. So we've all over the country, and they're the nicest people in the world. That's the thing about this, not only the cast, but our theater. I'm a huge Disney fan. Like, I grew up going to Disney. And the one thing that I loved about Disney is that if you work for Disney, you're called a cast member. And that's because you're called a cast member because everyone's a part of the show. And that's how we try to incorporate that when you walk into the theater.
Yeah. It's
like, everybody is a part of the show. I mean, you may not be on stage, but the bartender, I have the bartenders handing me shots to get, like, we're doing this thing in the middle. It's a very interactive part. And they literally I'm like, I need one shot because I know this moment's coming up, and I'm going to put a shot on the end of the stage. So they really are part of the show, and that's what we try to create is an atmosphere where you're just like, what? I even say, I'm like, you guys are probably you're like, what the hell did I just come to? Like, that's what I want you to be like, what did I come to? And I want you to leave and be like, that was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, that's exactly what we did. So, no, actually, like, I think it was over here. There was, excuse me, I don't know their names, but the lady on the pole.
That's Jamila is her real name.
Okay.
But Joe Fixit.
Joe Fixit, thank you. Yeah. Was over here and just like, we're like, did the show start or not yet? Because she was interacting with people.
Hanging upside down.
Yeah, and doing stuff. But then it got our attention, and then all of a sudden somebody pops up over there, and then somebody pops up over there, and you're like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden it just kind of did its thing, and you're like, oh, this is cool as hell. Like,
and that's a lot of credit to Nappy Tabs. So Nappy Tabs, they're so good at what they do. They know, and they've been in this world. So I'm a musician, you know, I'm a singer-songwriter. This is new to me as well. So when I was writing this with them, I really leaned on their expertise to guide me in the right direction. I'm the big picture guy, and I'll fine tune stuff, but they're a lot of that nuts and bolts of like, we know this will work.
Yeah, I got you.
You know, that whole
Oh, it definitely worked. That's for sure. So speaking of all the cast and the characters, how do you find them? How do you cast them? Like, we
got lucky. We did a big casting out in Vegas. So all of our acts are from Vegas. They come from that world. And most of them, there's a couple that are local. But most of them will come from Vegas or the Cirque world. Our contortionist came off a Cirque show in Canada, and we got him off of his contract. He came down here. Now he's our contortionist. He was also on America's Got Talent in 2020. So we find people like everywhere. But most of them came from a big casting. The initial cast came from Vegas. And we did a big casting. And because Nappy Tabs was on the casting call and have a name around this type of deal, we had a big turnout. And we just like, yes.
Well, you're a contortionist, man. There were many times we were sitting up there on that couch and we were going, oh God. And
he's intense.
Oh yeah. And she turns around me and just buries her head in my shoulder. She's like, oh, I can't watch. And the one where, I don't know, he was doing something with his hands and he turned around and it looks like he did like an exorcist type move with his head. And we were like, how in the world?
You know, in those movies when you see those people like that walk backwards and they're all like doing all this stuff, he can do that stuff. I'm like, bro.
Oh yeah. He did that thing. He like wobbled around over here or something. We're like, oh my God.
I'm gonna hire him for Halloween.
You should. You totally should. Actually,
walk through my house.
That's right. Answer the door.
Not tell Cassie.
Oh, that would be awesome. Just pop up.
Sorry, I had to go to the bathroom. You'll see.
Unacceptable.
You'll see a little because I had to.
There we go.
Because we were talking about this. This is not sponsored, by the way.
No.
I wish it was.
Good, yeah, right. It needs to be. Reach out to him. Like, hey, sponsor the Shiners show.
I love it.
Would you take a sponsor for the Shiner show?
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that, but so, you know, when we started this whole journey, I thought about making my own moonshine, like actually going out because I was already in the wine business. So I'm like, all right, I kind of know what to do. So I started reaching out to moonshine makers, like real moonshine makers. And it came to, I was just like, you know what? This is a pretty heavy lift. Old Smoky, their moonshine is so good. We just partnered with them. I was just like, I'm not going to try to I'm not going to try to compete with an Old Smoky or something. Yeah. It's not that important to me.
I got you.
Like the show is what it is. Yeah. So we have great, like if you ever come here, we have, we call them batched cocktails, like pre-made, Old Smoky, cocktails that are like phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
And they come in like a souvenir cup. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had some when we were here early. Actually, it was
apparently you had a lot.
Yeah, it's funny. We were joking. Jen and I, we really don't drink very much, but we got here, man. We had a good old time. We were like,
I don't know who's running this NashVegas site, but
watch out, NashVegas is here. Here we go. Yeah. Speaking of the show, I gotta. Have you ever had an oops moment during the towel scene?
Not me personally, but because there is a reason why I'm not in the towel scene. Ladies, you will love the towel scene.
Ladies will definitely love the towel. I had to close Jen's eyes, cover her eyes up when during that scene.
And guys, I mean, guys could love the towel scene.
Well, that's true. Yeah,
you never know. So it's very interesting. I always get really nervous during the towel scene, but they're great. If there is almost a drop of the towel, there's a very, very quick save.
There was actually a moment we saw from up top, and there was one of those, and it was funny because the crowd went, oh, but he saved it, but it was when they were like folding it and then folding it and then folding it. And then one of them, I can't remember his name, but he slipped and he was like, oh, but he caught it and just, hey, how's it going?
We're actually we're a pretty sexy show, to be honest. I mean, yeah. It's the Cirque acts that you would see in Cirque du Soleil. It's like these big, strong guys bouncing off each other, doing this creative stuff. And then you got people flying through the air. Like, you have those moments, but then there's like there's sexiness to our show. Jamila, who plays Joe Fixit, she's from Australia. She's a world champion acro pole. She's Australian champion. Yeah. So she's like top of the game. And extremely sexy, like, and very tasteful, and at least everything she does is very elegant and just looks great. And then you have the towel dance, which the ladies always go crazy over. And it's just, so there's definitely a sex appeal to our show. It's a great show for couples. It's a great show for bachelorettes. It's a great show for just a bunch of friends that want to get crazy or have fun and drink and see something, obnoxiously ridiculous that is actually super talented. Like,
oh, very.
And then you walk out and like, you can meet us downstairs if you want another drink, or you can go down to Broadway and chill, like do the whole thing. So Shiners Nashville, shinersnashville.com, get your tickets. October we'll be celebrating 2 years.
Nice. Okay.
Being open. And
wait, October what? Do you have the day?
I don't know the exact day. I think October 12th, I think.
Oh, I was close. Okay.
I think it's something like that.
The 20th is my birthday. We'll have to come back.
We can, you want us to push it for you?
Oh, sure. Sure. Why not? Who knows?
We'll invite you. We're going to do a big celebration for our 2 year.
That's awesome.
This has been quite the journey, man. I remember when we first opened, there was a lot of people that were like, a lot of just naysayers. Like, anytime you open up a new business or you do something that no one's done before, people want to, and I think this isn't just in life in general. If you're doing something that people don't understand, they'll judge you for it. And they usually judge you in a negative way. They're like, why are you doing that? Well, that doesn't make any sense. That's never going to work. And I remember hearing those things. I remember hearing a lot of support. Like, don't get me wrong, I heard a lot of support, but I heard a lot of other things too. And that was the same thing with music too. I remember when I came out with my first record, Dan Huff was one of the producers, and Dan Huff has done everybody, Keith Urban, Rascal Flatts, Martin, I mean, just everybody. And he goes, listen, Chuck, the record's about to come out. Do me a favor. And this was back in 2008. This was before a lot like social media is what it is now. He goes, do me a favor. Do not look at the reviews. Do not look at those. Don't even open it up. Of course.
Oh, of course. What do you do? Yeah.
What do? I go and look. And it's everything from this guy sucks to this guy's amazing, right? So you have both ends of this. You have this guy's amazing, this guy sucks. Let's keep it simple. And the same thing happens. Like, here I am, a new artist, and some people think it's amazing, some people think it sucks. Here I am doing something was very strange to this city, and now you're starting to see it expand, right? I'm starting to see, like, Cirque du Soleil is right around the corner right now. You have other shows that are popping up. They're not doing residency shows, but they're doing vignette style shows. And I'm watching all this happen, and you just have to, like, it bothered me a little bit, but I believed in this project so much that I was like, you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, this, you're not right. Like, I see people in the front row and in the back row, and they're laughing their asses off. So does that mean they're wrong? Like, who do you listen to? And I think that's in perspective. Anything you do, not to get deep, but anything you do in life, whether it's music, Shiners Nashville, wine, just being a parent, however you do things in life or whatever you believe in, just be you, and be real and do it and love it. And if you love what you're doing, who cares what anybody else thinks? And just make sure you're a good person while you're doing it. And that's what we've done throughout this whole process is, we're in a pretty, this building has been around forever, since 1800s. And I think 1890s or something like that. But it's been a lot of different things. But in the 60s, it was a pretty important building during the civil rights. And, John Lewis did his peaceful protest sit-ins here. And I remember when we took this building over, that was a big deal. They're like, what are you doing at the building? What is going on? What are you going to do? Why are you doing that? I think you should do this. And, I met with the Lewis family.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, several times.
Wow.
And Jarek Lewis has become a friend of mine, his nephew, John Lewis's nephew. We've talked about what's going on in this space, why we were building it.
Yeah.
He would come in. I gave him tours.
Oh, very
He had
cool.
never been in a space before. I gave him his first tour of the building.
Whoa.
And it was the magnitude of that was because of what his uncle did in this building and so many others. It was very big for him. And I remember it was an emotional thing. So even taking this building over, we did the best we could with what we could do. Right. And we kept the original floors going downstairs, the original handrails. We did kept the 2 original store. When we took this building over, we were only left with maybe 3 or 4 original stools.
Okay. Gotcha.
A lot of people thought we had everything was original.
Yeah,
From like, we're like, no. It was actually a restaurant before us called Woolworth on Fifth that a lot of it, all their stuff that they put in, probably 99% of it was fabricated to make it look like it was original. It was not. And then so they thought the original diner was the original. No, it wasn't the original diner. And before that, it was a Dollar General. So this building has been a lot of different things. So it was kind of heavy when we were like getting all this on our shoulders, and especially on mine. What are you doing with the building? I'm like, well, I'm making it into the Woolworth Theater. And I specifically wanted to keep it, the name Woolworth in the theater name to pay homage to the building. Like I could have just called it, Theater on Fifth, I didn't have to call it really anything. But I wanted to make sure I kept the history of the building alive as much as I possibly could while showing progress. And that was hard to do, because talk about chatter here, chatter there, that was tough. But when I got the sign off on the Lewis family, when Jarek Lewis, I asked Jarek Lewis in particular, I said, hey, would your uncle be okay with what we're doing with the building? I mean, I know he goes, man, this is exactly what my uncle would want to see is he goes, you have all walks of life walking in through those doors from all different kinds of backgrounds. They're coming to laugh together, drink together, eat together, and walk out together. He goes, and that's exactly what you're doing. And that's exactly why they did what they did in the 60s. So here we are. So I think that's a pretty big message that I felt like some people missed in the beginning. I feel like they just wanted to stay in a certain time zone and a certain part of the past and be like, let's just focus on that. Where I come from the school of, how about we remember that and show that we've made progress? That's what this building, if you want to think outside of Shiners and outside of just the show, this building encompasses that.
Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, home run with that, because you definitely hit the nail on the head with everything. So this has been, we can't wait to come back, and this building is beautiful, what you've done with it. But
yeah,
the show.
Thanks, man. And we do outside of Shiners, we do a lot of private corporate events.
Yeah.
We do. It's so much fun. Sometimes we'll do private birthday parties downstairs.
Oh yeah.
The downstairs lounge is beautiful.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, you could do your own. You could have your own club down there if you want. Mm-hmm. So the sky's the limit. So come see us. Woolworth Theater, most importantly, ShinersNashville.com. Yep. And you guys got to come back.
Oh, we will
see it with.
We got to see it with you, and yeah, for sure.
This Mason Shiner.
Well, one more before we close out.
Okay.
What's next?
A lot of attention on the wine. The wine is continuing to pop, and a lot of good things happening there. So Melorosa wine, Melorosa.com, and then. a lot of attention on this theater still in this show. Musically, I'm always going to make music. I'm always going to write music. Music will always be the nucleus of what I do. Whether it doesn't matter what level, whether I'm on the radio, not on the radio, touring or not touring, music is I do music because I love it. So it's always going to be the center of what I do. But as I get older and have family, I have different businesses that I'm developing outside of this that is in the works.
I'm figuring. Sounds like a Chuck Wicks Part 2 or Reloaded or something down the future.
I just love entertaining. I love being on stage. I love entertaining. So I'm always going to be trying to do that. So.
Oh, cool. Well, we can't thank you enough for letting us come in, and we know your time is very valuable and sitting here with us. We really appreciate it. And
this is good.
Oh, this is awesome.
Listen, I was up at 4:00 in the morning giving my son a buggy ride around the farm. So.
Oh, there you go.
I'm right. This is dinner time for me.
Oh, hey, all right then.
We're good.
We're good to go. But we're going to link to everything in the description for you about the wine and Shiners Nashville and where everybody can find you guys. And make sure you come see the show. It's an amazing show. I can honestly say I guarantee you'll have a good time. Like there's no question.
Well, don't say that because now
I'm saying it for my own personal.
He guaranteed me a good time, and I didn't like 2% of it.
Yeah, right. Well, okay, I am 99% sure you will really enjoy this show. And so, but again, all that'll be in the description. And again, we really appreciate your time. Thank you for everything.
Thanks.
And for all those watching and tuning in, as always, we'll see you on the next one.